When it comes to discussing the realities of parenting, you can expect some sensitive material and occasional profanity.
Listener discretion is advised. Welcome to Anonymous Mom, a podcast where two childhood friends reconnect to discuss mom life, adulting, and everything in between.
This week, we are going to discuss knowing your child's astrology and how it can benefit you. Because if you haven't noticed, we are both into metaphysical shit.
Yes. We like crazy universe shit. We like crystals. We like any of that weird stuff. And yeah.
Weird stuff.
Well, you don't have to be weird to like it.
To be fair, I have to point out that astrology is the oldest science in the world. So clearly there must be something to it. If it's been around longer than any other known science. Well, I had a fun little project that I did for this week's episode, and that is doing the astrology for you. And for this episode, we're just going to focus on you and your eldest daughter. Yay. Because something I discovered is that knowing my daughter's astrology has been very beneficial. I'll just give one quick example is with her emotions, because she is a Virgo moon and I'm a Pisces sun, and Virgo is the opposite of Pisces. And so Virgo has really rubbed me the wrong way. Well,
welcome.
The way she expresses her emotions is very different than how I express or expect somebody to express their emotions.
Yes.
Doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with it.
It's just not your way.
It's just not something that to me, it feels cold. And hurtful. And the older she gets, the more that's probably gonna. But for me,
they don't even gonna have to be a Virgo to do that. They're just gonna be 13.
She's very blunt with her expressing her emotions. You know, it's just
should have been mine.
Yeah. Because of that, I looked into her astrology. I'm like, well, I need to know her astrology. So I look it up, and then I look and I'm like, oh God, this makes so much sense when you actually read it. The reason I think it's most important for parents is because it helps you with parenting, seeing it from their perspective versus your perspective. Because all you know is, your perspective until you look outside it. And so I wanted to go over and see how accurate this is with you and your eldest daughter. The way I have it set up, I've made a template. So if anybody wants this done, you can message in the Anonymous Mom group on Facebook. But I'm going to share my screen. So I made a little template where it has mom and child, and then we're going to do the breakdown. But since we're crunched on time because of another recording that went over, we are just going to go through the top 5. Okay. All right. So we're going to start with your rising sign. So your rising sign is Cancer. Your eldest daughter's rising sign is Scorpio. Now I have a breakdown too for what every alignment means. So rising sign is how the outside world sees you and how you project yourself to the outside world.
Okay. Say that again. Okay.
So your rising sign is how the outside world sees you, meaning this is the side of yourself that you show to the outside world. It's not always, that.
It's not, I'm not the Gemini that I feel I'm a Gemini.
You're a Gemini.
I'm for sure Gemini.
You show it, but this is a part that you show, let's say when you first meet somebody.
Okay.
This is the first vibe you give off type of thing.
Okay, cool.
All right. So for you, Cancer rising is very sensitive by nature. You prefer to be in your own familiar surroundings, cautious and conservative. You make changes in your life only very slowly, if at all. You do not open up easily to strangers. Friendships are made for life. However, once given, your trust is forever.
Yep.
Your mother, your home, and your family as a child and your early family life in general are very important to you. You are also very sentimental when you feel self-confident. You are gentle, giving, and protective of the needs of others. But when you feel insecure or threatened, you become very overly sensitive to criticism. Shy, withdrawn, and moody, you have a strong need for security in the sense that you are being loved, nourished, and protected.
I love it.
Now, your eldest is a Scorpio rising. And what that means is they tend to be quiet, reserved, secretive, and at times, now this is their rising, okay? So this is what they project out to the world.
Yep.
They tend to be reserved, secretive, and at times quite difficult to understand. Others notice deep emotions and feelings and wonder how to draw them out of them. Also project being stubborn and tough. You fight for any position you believe in. You are very resourceful and are very formidable when you become angered or upset about something. You enjoy living life at the cutting edge, for life must be experienced intensely and totally. Quite courageous, you are willing to take calculated risks, easily hurt by others. You often strike back with bitter sarcasm. So that's some, so these are things that we're getting to why this is important. Sensitive and curious, you are concerned with the deeper mysteries of human psychology. Now, I also then have how this is for you as a parent.
Okay.
I always like going first with the elements. Cancer is water and Scorpio is water. Because say you were earth and she was water. Well, water nurtures earth. And so that would be a time when like her energy would nurture your energy. Does that make sense? And then this is like, now, even though you're both water signs, they're polar opposite water signs, if you will.
Like one is hot and one's cold.
Yes. So Cancer is water, Scorpio is water. Others will most likely see both of you as deeply emotional individuals. While mom might withdraw when she feels attacked, your eldest is more likely to strike back. So that is very important to highlight. It would benefit both mom and the eldest daughter to do activities together that build your self-confidence together. So that's my suggestion for that one. Okay, so now your sun sign. Now, as we know, you are a Gemini sun. Your eldest is an Aquarius sun. Now, the sun sign is the core of who you are. While, you might project rising, when you open yourself up, people see this part of you. Yes. If that makes sense.
Yep.
I'm not going to go too detailed into these, I think, because of time. Well, no, I'll just go through it. Okay. So Gemini, you have a quick, bright, and agile mind, but an extremely short attention span. You love the external, and I'm a Gemini rising and moon, so trust me, I understand all this.
Yeah,
I think actually my Mercury's Gemini too is atrocious. So anyways,
I love
it. You love the external kaleidoscope aspects of life, but you tend to avoid deep, close emotional involvements. As such, you seem to enjoy travel and sightseeing and generally being on the go. For Aquarius, your eldest, you get bored with the status quo and are generally open to new things and ideas. An individualist and a free spirit, your friends are quite important to you as long as they do not try to tie you down by making too many emotional demands on you. You're a bit eccentric, but not always very changeable. As a matter of fact, you can be quite stubborn at times. So we're seeing a lot of a stubborn energy here. So now both of these are air. So that's interesting too. So both your risings are water, both your suns are air. However, again, they're two
very different air.
Very different air. And again, not saying that there's anything good or bad to that, because yin and yang, opposites can work very well together. So Gemini is air, Aquarius is air. At your core, both of you like to be continually moving, which is very important. However, whether or not this is seen by others depends on your rising sign, which you both have in water. Now, I'm suggesting by embracing the air qualities at the core of who you are will help move that energy that you project to the outside world more, because air moves water and water shouldn't be sitting still. Like when water becomes stagnant, it becomes, toxic.
Right.
So that's another aspect too. Like you guys, there's a lot to benefit from doing certain activities together because of your energy, because they're both the same element, but move in different ways. Now your moon sign, which I feel is probably the most important one for people to understand. So the moon is how you express your emotions. Also how you just expect other people express their emotions when you don't know how other people express their emotions. Mom is Capricorn moon and your eldest is Gemini moon.
Oh.
Yeah, which is me. So for mom, you are serious and shy and very uncomfortable in those situations where spontaneous and exuberant emotional reactions seem called for. An achiever, you prefer doing practical, worthwhile things that produce tangible results. You need role models to respect, love, and emulate. You tend to feel that you're a failure unless you get an important and highly respected position in life. Don't be so hard on yourself. For you, practical needs always win out over emotional considerations. Now, for your eldest, restless in the extreme, you are easily bored because of your short attention span. And, that's definitely that Gemini vibe. Your emotions change rapidly, and you love to talk about your feelings. Generally, you have good judgment, your intellect controls your emotions, and you do not overreact emotionally to things. So this can be seen, in certain ways, not what you would expect emotionally.
Right.
So that's just a brief one, but how this relates to you with parenting. Capricorn is earth, Gemini is air. These placements can cause friction with how you express your emotions to each other. However, your eldest placement is in your sun sign. So when you can take a step back, mom, from your emotions to see yourself in your daughter, you're going to greatly benefit navigating those emotions.
Okay. I mean, it all makes way too much sense, so that's why I'm a little
Does
freaked
it?
out. Yeah.
Yay! I'm so excited. Okay.
Yeah, because I definitely do feel like when it says my moon sign is a Capricorn, I definitely am that, because my husband is a Capricorn, so I like know all about so
Oh,
like totally how that is. So with
yeah.
emotions, because that's how I am. Makes fun of me because he's like, so when do you think you're gonna have feelings? Because I'm not a feeling-y person.
Do you know what his moon sign is?
No, I don't.
Okay, we'll have to figure that out.
We'll have to do that one too. But yeah. And then we've got one of our really good friends is always like, through therapy and all of that, I have more feelings now, but I didn't know, when you grow, like, I think in my parents' generation and your parents' generation, you didn't
I
grow up
think
with
my
feelings.
mom is a Capricorn moon too.
Probably. Yeah.
And that makes so much sense.
Yes. And so like, but it's also too, like in their generation, like you didn't have feeling, you know what I mean? You weren't like children were to
You
be seen
had
and not
them.
heard.
You were told you had
just
them.
told
You were told not to have them.
Exactly. So like we were raised by a family. And so this is another generational thing, which I think is funny, because have you ever looked at like the generations of like what they are? So like our parents were raised by, I think it's the silent generation. So you
No,
did it
the silent generation is
above that.
The Great Depression.
Yes. Okay. So, and then our grandparents raised our parents the same way they were raised. So we have to break.
Do you want to hear a fun fact?
Yeah.
They are actually comparing us to the silent generation.
Really?
Right now. Yep. So I've been looking at that because if you see all the stuff that happened during the Great Depression.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is what's happening.
Yeah. Well, and I do feel like, right. But I do feel like we're in a time where people are like, stop being so emotional, like suddenly, like, yes, we're bringing awareness to what mental illness and stuff like that. But now I feel like everybody's being like, okay, we've had enough. We've had enough of everybody having feelings. No, and it's okay. Stop saying they've had, like all of a sudden people are too emotional. And
yeah, when you go back and look at that, because it's interesting, and it is that what you said of, you don't need to talk about it. And it's like, we're saying, yes, you do. But yeah, it's very interesting to see those dynamics, because I mean, there are studies too where everything happens in a cycle, and certain generations tend to repeat certain patterns.
Yes. And until you break it.
Well, technically, so I don't know if this would apply to your daughters. They might not be in the same generation, but my daughter is in what's going to be the boomer generation. And so I said, okay, her generation cannot repeat the selfishness.
Yeah. Yes.
You know what I mean? And so that's why I'm very concentrated on instilling certain values in her.
Yes.
Like from an early age. But anyways, okay, that's another thing. All right, we only have 10 minutes left, so I'm going to go quick. Okay, not really, but but you'll get to read all of it. We're done when we're done. Worry. I'm giving you the full 12 planet breakdown. Don't worry. Okay, so your Mercury is Gemini, and her Mercury is Capricorn. Now, this is how you communicate.
Okay.
I'm just going to go through the breakdown of how you guys can help each other, okay?
Okay.
So Gemini is air, Capricorn is earth. The way mom communicates and the way your eldest communicates can cause friction. So there's a lot of things that can cause friction in your relationship. It is interesting because it is the exact same as your moon, but switching signs. Now, how cool is that? So taking time to sit with your emotions before communicating with each other can benefit you both. How you are feeling is how you need to express yourself, and vice versa. So you will understand one another more when you realize this, if you just give it a try. So when you're emotional, those emotions are what you need to communicate, if that makes sense. And then the same with her.
Okay. Got it.
Now your Venus is how you express and desire love. You're a Taurus. Your eldest is an Aries. Now Taurus is earth and Aries is fire. So this is where your daughter can greatly benefit from your grounding and nurturing Venus. So long as you are mindful of not allowing that energy to be stagnant. And so this is where you guys can really, like I said, your energies can really help each other learn and grow. Okay. Now, when it comes to Mars, this is also a very important one, because Mars is how you assert yourself. Your Mars is Libra and theirs is Capricorn. And so, like I said, there's a lot of signs, I mean, besides Libra, but a lot of similar signs in different placements. And so this
Yeah.
is why I said, like, when you look through this and take time to really go through it, you're going to start seeing this more. Like I said, when I look at this chart and I see how people see her, how she really is inside, how she communicates and how she expresses, it makes perfect sense. And when those things don't jive with you, you understand how to accept them, and then you appreciate them for what they are.
Right.
Libra is air and Capricorn is earth. This is where mom can help. Number one, I'm just calling her number one.
Yeah. She's number one. Yep.
Move forward and go with the flow when feelings of stubbornness arise from disputes or disappointments. However, mom should also be aware that eldest might react hostile to such encouragement, since it goes against their nature to stand their ground. Now, working with your eldest to connect with the phases of the moon and their air sign will help them go with the flow when it's needed to do so. Your eldest can also help mom when she needs to be assertive. So what I suggest is activities like yoga would be beneficial for both of you.
Okay.
Because it allows...
Which I love and she loves. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, we both love it. Yeah.
Yay! I love that I predicted that right.
Yeah, see?
Maybe I am good at this shit.
You are good. Don't. Yeah.
Working with this stuff is so beneficial because, like I said, it just really makes you see things that you might not be aware of that are just inherent to who you are. The other thing I find interesting too, which I didn't get into Chinese astrology, but knowing those signs too, so beneficial.
Like, is that like the
pig, rooster,
pig,
rabbit.
rooster? Okay. Yep.
I'm a pig.
I thought I was a pig.
Well, you might be because it's a whole.
It's a yeah.
It's a year.
Yeah.
And so mine. So that's the other thing. People think that the year starts on January 1st. It doesn't in a lunar cycle.
No.
There's people who think that they're a certain sign because they look at the date, or I'm sorry, they look at the year and they're not that sign. I know two people who have thought that they're a certain sign and they're not. Look yours up.
I will. I thought I was a pig.
Well, make sure you go to one where you put in your full birthday. Don't just look at the year.
Right.
But anyways, when you,
look it up
so
right now.
I'm a pig and she's a dog. And there's this amazing astrologer, Donna Stellhorn, and she has a yearly guide for each year with a month-to-month breakdown for each sign.
Oh.
Highly recommend it. It's so awesome. But she also talks about the compatibility. Seeing that compatibility too is so interesting because when I read about it, I wish I had the description right here, but it's like pigs and dogs get along really well, but dogs can nip at pigs, you know, like biting.
Yeah.
And pigs are really tolerant.
Yes.
And but just like that, you can expect that. And it's true. Like when she quote nips at me, it's very Virgo like. And so then when you put those
I'm a dog
together.
So
see, I told you. But they're very similar.
Yeah.
I got to show you this book. I'm going to take a screenshot for your October and November because it's very interesting. But yeah, so knowing that, so connecting those together too is super helpful. And I'd love to do that too. I mean, that's just like a very generalized breakdown, but just like to put it at the end because I feel like those dynamics also really give you insight onto how these dynamics work. So did everything click with you?
Yeah, totally. Yes.
Now, when it comes to emotions, I think that is like, for me, the most important is how you communicate and how you express your emotions are the same signs, but reversed.
Which makes sense.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yes, totally. Because
that makes me so happy.
I like, because my emotions are Capricorn, right?
Yes.
Yes.
How you express your emotions and how you expect emotions to be expressed as Capricorn.
Yes. And that makes complete sense. And she's a Gemini, wasn't she?
Yes. So she's a Gemini. So then too, that's also important because you're a Gemini sun, you know, so she can even expect that even more from you because of what your sun sign is, who you are and who she knows you are. So it's so interesting to see that. And then that can also cause friction. Right.
Yeah. Because she wants me to be, that's totally how it is.
And there's other things I want to put in, like, for example, with her rising, how she will be curious and concerned with the mysteries in life, like psychology.
Yes.
I mean, so then nurturing those aspects, getting her like a teen psychology book or so, you know what I mean? So that's the other great thing is that you can find these really cool things to nurture these inherent energies
Yeah.
that they already have
Well,
in them.
Even her with having like all of like her anxiety and stuff like that and how she just talks openly about it all the time to people. I'm always like, I'm very glad that you're able to do that because a lot of people don't want to do that. We both share that thing. And so that's obviously like kind of relatable with that.
Yes. And that can be nurtured.
Yeah.
I'm glad you like it. And I will give you again, I'm going to give you the full breakdown of you and your eldest and your youngest.
And then number 2.
And then what the other thing that we didn't get to because we don't have time, we only have a minute left, but another one that's important is your north and your south node, because your north node is where you're going in your fate, and your south node is your past life and the lessons you've learned.
Yes.
And
so I want to add in before, because we just have a short amount of time.
Yep.
I want to add in that if anybody wants you to do this for them, please reach out, because I know so many people that want this done. So please reach out to us.
Yes.
Because is very good at that. So
well, thank you.
I think so.
I think.
Yeah, you are. Don't be no, we're not the self-esteem. We're building it up. So
I know I got to work on it too. I didn't say I'm not included in that. Well, that is all the time we have. It's less than a minute. So thanks for tuning in, everybody. And we'll talk to you next week.
Thanks. Thanks for tuning in to Anonymous Mom. Have a question you want answered or a topic you'd love for us to discuss?
Email us at anonymousmompod@gmail.com. Or if you want to remain anonymous, join our Facebook group, Anonymous Mom, where you can post your topic or question anonymously.
Thanks for listening.